We're going to go to Flyers fan 39. The first question he asks, do you have high hopes for the injured players rebounding with a full camp? And he makes note of Risto, of Drysdale, and of Sean Couturier. My highest hope is Jamie Drysdale because he has the highest upside.
Yes. He's the one I care about being good. Yes.
Well, Sean Couturier, I badly want to just see. I am holding out the belief that he just needs time to figure out what his body needs. How to get through a full 82-game schedule, as I've noted many times. It's been a while.
Yes.
He's now 31. He hasn't done it since he was 26. There's been COVID seasons, his own injuries, all that stuff. It's been a while. So he just kind of needs to adjust to his new reality. I believe that's possible.
Yes.
Jamie Drysdale, it's about staying healthy and reaching his potential. So there's like two things there. And Risto, I just hope they trade him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Ristolainen can go. Obviously, I think that's the best thing just because the contract is bad. If we can get out from under it, got to do it. Coots, I would like to see him just be able to settle into, I mean, like, obviously we need him to be the 1C because we don't have anybody else. But if he can just, like, be our 1C at a 2C level, like, I'm fine with that right now. Like, that's okay.
I need him to eventually settle into being Jordan Staal.
Yes.
Maybe he's not the 70-point player he was when he had Claude Giroux and when his back was working.
Yes.
But he's going to give you some shade of the Selke level two-way play that he gave you a couple of years ago. Like, that's what I need from Sean Couturier.
I'm hoping Drysdale maybe puts on a little weight this summer, get some cheesesteaks in him, goes lifting with the bees. I want to see him come into camp a stronger version of himself because I do think that he's never going to be big, right? Like, he's never going to be a big guy. But I think if he can get more physically strong for his frame, I think that'll probably help with the injuries a little bit. Like, if he's not so easily pushed around, it'll probably help. That's the thing I care about the most because, like, as you said, he's the one that we need. Of those three, he's the one that needs to be good. If the other two fall off, it's like, whatever. They're old anyway. Like, they're not really part of this. If they have to get buried in the lineup, it's whatever. Jamie Drysdale has to be good or we got a problem. So, like, yeah, I really hope he comes into camp looking like a better version of himself.
The other part of his question, what do you see happening with Deslauriers, and do we need another like him for next season?
Okay, no.
I
number
think,
two.
Like,
what do you do with two of those?
You have enough, like, Deslauriers, I see what happens with him being when we play the Leafs, when we play the Rangers, he's maybe in the lineup because they have a heavyweight, so you throw one out there. But mostly I see him doing what he did in the second half of this season, being a healthy scratch more often than not.
Yes.
He's just not very good at hockey. You need tough badasses in this league, especially to win in the playoffs. They need to be good at hockey first and foremost. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, we talk about what built for the playoffs means, and I saw someone say this. There's no such thing. You're either good or you're not.
Yes.
Like, last year's Conn Smythe winner, Jonathan Marchessault, was like 5'9".
Thank you.
Like, you need Matt Tkachuk, Sam Bennett. You need these dudes.
Right.
You know what those guys also are? Fucking awesome.
Good at hockey.
Like,
yes.
That needs to be the first thing.
Yes.
Like, you start there.
Yeah.
And then, like, the other elements you either add or go out and find elsewhere.
Right.
Having the most good players is huge.
I mean, it's a bold statement, Bill, but I tend to believe that the teams with the best players
look at the
win
last
games.
few Cup champs. Tampa, Colorado, Vegas.
Yeah.
They had the most good players.
No, I mean, as much as you want to believe that they won because of Pat Maroon, that's not why they won. They won because they have really, really good players. And Pat Maroon, to be fair, he's not terrible. He's not a liability.
He's a guy, like, he's not, he can go out and give you 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, Nic Deslauriers, I really I had the question yesterday, if you could go on a bender with any player, I picked him. I was well, first of all, I need someone my age. Like, what, am I going to hang out with Cam York?
Oh,
I have 12 years on him. What the fuck are we going to talk about? I don't have TikTok.
No.
You know, I like Nic Deslauriers a lot. He's my kind of guy. If I could have played in the league, I'd want to be him.
Yeah.
But the game is different from when I was 10 years old.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, we can't get rid of Deslauriers. Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's just going to be here. It is what it is. And I do think that he's going to play some games. And most of the games he's not going to play. And when he does play, he's going to play 5 minutes, which means that you're going with 11 forwards, which is a detriment to the team. So, like, that's probably what it's going to be.
And that's, I think, the guy you do need in your lineup in that role is Garnett Hathaway.
Yes.
He can do both.
Yes.
Is he an electric offensive player? Like, can you count on him for 15 goals? No.
But we don't need that from him.
He's good. He's a fourth line guy who can get in on the forecheck, do some things for you, stir the pot.
Yes.
And if the gloves need to be dropped, as we saw, he can do that very effectively.
He will do it. And then you got Nic Deslauriers who will drop him too.
And that's
last thing we need.
A lot of times I look at, well, they have Rempe. How do you match it? You don't. And guess what? He can't do anything.
No.
He then has no effect on the game.
Yes. Yeah. You don't have to play into it.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. I do like when you can match that guy, but you don't have to force it.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And then finally, what lessons can we learn from perennial contenders like Boston?
Have better players.
Like Boston had a nice little run. I mean, they were really good for a while. I don't mean to diminish it. Yeah. These last couple of years, what can we learn from them? Have the best goaltending.
I was going to say, and also
they've gotten by with goaltending the last few years, and then when they get to the postseason, it's like, oh, we're outmatched.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't overstate how important your goaltender being hot in the playoffs is. Like, it's really 75% of what's getting you there.
We just talked about that 2010 series. If Tim Thomas comes in at any point, the comeback never happens.
No.
Like, they were just stuck with playing Rask, and it was, you shouldn't, like, the next year they go with Tim Thomas and they dominate.
Right.
Like, it was... You had the answer and you refused to acknowledge it because you wanted to go with the guy, and it's not quite his time yet. Yeah. It will be, but it isn't yet.
No.
And they didn't go with the goalie they should have.
Yeah. So
probably happened last year too.
The ticket, have good players, have hot goaltender.
That's really what it comes down to.
Please
the goaltending part is such a pain in the ass.
Because you don't know when it's going to happen.
You can have an elite goalie.
And then they shit the bed.
And there is absolutely no guarantee he plays at an elite level.
Nope.
And you look at Bobrovsky right now, and it's like, yeah, his postseason career until last year sucked.
Yes.
Like, he was a below average goalie in the postseason for most of his playoff runs.
No one could stop talking about how shit that contract is.
And he also has 2 Vezinas and is really looking like he's going to win back-to-back Eastern Conference final. Like,
it makes no sense. You don't know when it's going to happen. It really is just getting lucky.
And then Michael Leighton has a magical run and then is the worst goalie you've ever seen again in the Stanley Cup. It's just goaltending is so fucked up, man. It has such an outsized impact on the outcome of the game.
Yes.
And there's just no predicting how it's going to go.
No predicting it. It's not like you can't really coach it to be better in the game, like in the moment.
Every head coach is like, I don't know, man. I'll leave that to the goalie coach.
Yeah.
He tells me who's ready, and I play that guy.
The only adjustment you can make is taking one out and putting the other one in. Like, there's just...
The other one, probably not as good. Yeah. That's why you have the guy you have.
Yeah.
And then Alex Lyon got Florida into the playoffs last year and almost did the same thing for Detroit this year. He's a guy 5 years ago we're like, he's probably a really good AHL goalie.
Yeah. It makes sense.
I wish anyone could explain it to me.
No one can.
That I really do like. I really do like having Bush on the broadcasts, and I think it's so important to have a goalie because no one else can explain goaltending. Like, you either did it or you're guessing about it.
Yeah, Lundqvist as well on the broadcast is really good at breaking stuff down.
He just says little things. I'm like, oh, that's how you explain that. I get it now.
Yeah, when he broke down how what's his face shouldn't have gone down as fast as he did, I was like, oh,
how he moves his stick with his
Yeah.
leg, just little stuff. I'm like, I
you
played
never-
my whole life. I have no idea.
No, it's
Because the
really
goalies were
interesting.
off doing their thing,
Right.
while we were just doing everything else.
Yes.
Like there was no. I never sat in on a goalie meeting.
And like as a fan, like the camera's only on them when they're like,
when the
you know what I
puck
mean?
is-
Like,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's not, you don't get to watch them the way you
Did
do
he
the
stop it or
skaters.
didn't he? That's
it.
how I determine who's good or who isn't.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just goddamn goalies. How has it always been I guess it's probably been everyone's problem.
That's
Like-
my biggest revelation from this season is that nothing matters but goaltending.
Yeah.
It's like my religion now. You'll never convince me of anything else.
We all silly like the mayor.